Right, it is a beautiful sunny day. Not going to be many more of these. We're in autumn. It is cooling down. We've had some cool nights, nothing below sort of 6 or 7, but the daytime temperatures are not warming up like they were, so I'm going to say officially sort of autumn time, but we're still enjoying the last of the sunshine. The garden is a total mess because I've been away on holiday for a couple of weeks. The grass is uncut, the general untidiness of not being maintained, but we're looking, so we have to just excuse the all the bits and pieces everywhere. Like I say, I've been away for a couple of weeks. It's probably the longest I've gone since I started the channel of not doing a video, but we're back into it now. So I've been preparing for the new centre bed extension. So I've moved some palms. So any eagle-eyed viewers familiar with my channel may or may not notice there's been a change. So in this centre bed here, we've got all the slow growing palms, sort of more unusual but really slow growing palms for the UK. So I did have a Trachycarpus princeps, which is slow, but to be fair was growing quicker than I was expecting, so, and I weren't happy where it was, so I've moved that. So I'll show you where that is in a moment. So I've replaced that with this palm. This is quite a unusual one. So this was in the front garden, but it sort of got lost a bit in the front garden and weren't really appreciated by me where it was, and I really didn't want to disturb it, but the time is now. I wanted to move the princeps anyway, so we've got this one in instead. So this is the Nanops richiana, or Afghanistan shrub palm, so quite a rare one for the UK. I mean, there are some about, but quite an unusual one, quite a nice one to be fair, sort of a shrubby palm, silvery green. Believe it or not, in its natural habitat it is a pretty fast growing palm, but in the UK, like most palms, pretty slow. So it has got multiple heads on it. There is actually, there's a little growing point here, another smaller one here, we've got the main one here, which is pushed out a good couple of leaves this year. It's looking quite good, and there's a little growing point behind that as well. So it's sort of multiple heads stroke trunks once it gets going. Again, quite slow in the UK, but just a nice unusual palm to have. So that'll fit in nicely with the rest of the slow growing palms we've got here. I will go through them all maybe one day. Right, so that's the Nanops in, and I will say that is by temperature alone probably the cold hardiest palm in the world. I know a lot of people say needle palm, or you know, sable miners are pretty tough, but this one is allegedly hardy to minus 22 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but that's pretty cold. Ridiculously cold, but I will say that's a dry cold. In the UK it's going to be substantially less hardy than minus 22. Again, if we can keep it on the dry side, I'm going to imagine that's going to be minus 10, minus 15, no problem. And this is, again, been in the front garden for, I'm going to say 3 years. I did actually do a video on this palm when I bought it. I got it from Urban Jungle. I think it was half price or 30% off or something, but that's pretty reasonable at the time. I think that's about 40 quid, and I wouldn't say it's any bigger now than it was when I bought it, but when I planted it in the garden, in the front garden, that was in a place where I thought it was going to get full sun, and it weren't, and a lot of other plants have grown around it, and that was pretty much in full shade. So now it's in full sun, it should grow a little bit quicker, and yeah, we'll see how that one goes. So we've moved the Princeps, Trachycarpus Princeps, over here. So again, this is the sort of centre bed at the moment, with the raised area with the Dubia in it. And what I have done is laid out a hose where the extension to the centre bed's going to go. So again, at the moment we've got a lot of slow growing palms sort of packed in this area, and I want to basically accumulate quite a few plants now and sort of run out of space to put them. So we thought, well, let's just extend the centre bed. So that's what we're doing. Yeah, so where the hose is, the new bed is going to cut the lawn away around this area, all the way up here. Sort of towards the end here, we're going to put the Butiagarus aerospatha in, not right on the corner, but towards that end. But that won't be till spring next year. There's no point putting it in the ground now. Best to keep it in a pot, and I'll put that in the summer house out the way, so that's protected from the worst of the winter, and then we'll get it in the ground next year. That has actually grown away quite well this year, so since I've had it in early spring, that's pushed out 3 fronds, so not too bad. Anyway, so we can see the hose comes round here, and sort of terminates at the bridge here. So you'll have 2 entrances to the back garden from the sort of midsection, one coming around this way over the bridge and the other around that way. So we've given ourselves a lot of area to plant right here, and again, these plants are just in pots at the moment. Not necessarily going to go in this bed other than the Butiagarus, like we said. But what I do is, because I wanted to move the Princeps, because was getting a bit big where it was, sort of out competing the rest of the palms, and I'd like in the front slow growing palm bed area for everything to sort of just tick along slow and steady, and this was sort of start to take off a bit too quick. So what I've done is sort of roughly in the middle of the extension to the centre bed, I've put the Princeps. Really nice palm, this one. It's after the spear pull, 22-23 winter. That's really sort of bulked up and done well, and really getting a lot of the good white stuff around the trunk, looking really quite nice looking, that one. So yeah, we've just literally this morning transplanted this. It is sort of getting towards late afternoon now, so I'll just cut a chunk out the lawn, dug a big hole, transplanted it in there, give it a good water in. I think for the rest of the week we should be getting rain every day, but I will still water this in well while we've got the mild weather until it starts getting cold. Then I'll stop watering at that point. So it's not the best time of year necessarily to move palms, but it's definitely not the worst. I mean, the ground's still warm, we're still getting reasonable daylight hours, and it's not too cold yet, sort of temperature wise, so that'll give it a chance to settle in a bit before winter comes. And I've no doubt this will sit still for a year or two now I've moved it, like most Trachycarpus, unless you dig out every single root and take a long time doing it. They really don't like being moved. Most palms don't, but yeah, so I'm quite prepared for that to sit still for a year or two, but I'm happy with that. So yeah, pretty little palm. That's taking the centre area. We're going to have a lot of lower grown plants in this area. Like I say, just a few sort of specimen plants. I'm still toying with the idea of having this yucca roughly where it is there. So we'll have the yucca, the palm, and like I say, the Butiagrus sort of at that end, and everything else will be filled in with sort of smaller, lower growing plants. Just so we don't block too much light from this area, the pond area, which is a nice little sun trap. And yeah, we've got the Cyagrus Romans Offiana, just the mountain form Santa Caterina. So that I've found that to be pretty sturdy palm for the UK in milder climates. That's been out. I've had it for several years, to be fair, in a pot, and I've always just put it in an unheated greenhouse, and that's been absolutely fine. That was in the ground over winter last winter and took very minimal damage. We did get -6 a few occasions, and on the latest newest spear they had a little bit of browning, but that really, I mean, looking at it now, you wouldn't notice any damage. That's done quite well this year, considering it's been, again, I keep saying, a poor summer, quite cool, but that has pushed out 2 good leaves, and it's got a spear behind them as well. So yeah, I want to keep as much light to that as I can until that gets a bit bigger. So again, nothing too tall in the centre bed here, just a couple of sort of feature plants, and the rest will just be fillers and some nice little bedding plants or whatever. But yeah, it just gives me the opportunity to plant more. Right, so that is a sort of look on what's going on. Yeah, just enjoying being outside. Again, after the week we've had, it's been a lot of rain, a lot of sort of cooler temperatures. It's nice to be outside in the sun, soaking up the last drops of the summer that wasn't. But yeah, so again, I've got a lot of ideas going around my head. I'm not going to plant everything up now. It's literally, I had to move that palm, the Princeps, so that has had to go in, but the rest of the plantings won't happen until next year. But I may well do just cut all the turf, all the grass up, and leave it bare soil, and I may well just mulch that with some horse manure or something to get some goodness in the soil over winter, and then come spring I'll be ready to plant up. So that's the plan now. I've got lots of, again, if you watch this channel, then you know I buy a lot of plants, so I've got a lot of plants to try and place. Needless to say, I've got a lot of these sort of fancy cord lines here, which some of them may well find their way in as well. We'll leave it there, and we'll thank you for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.